Once more, I thank God for this time that I am alive. Ndinotenda Mwari kuti ndiri mupenyu. Ngiyayibonga inkosi ngoba ngisaphilile. I want once again to address the issue of Zimbabwe, the oppression, the dictatorship. Ngithanda nje ukuthi ngikhulume ngendaba yakithi yaseZimbabwe. Umumo wezinto kwelakithi. Before I go on, I want to thank the army. I thank you in advance for what is going to happen. I want to thank the members of the police force, the civil servants, the nurses, teachers, doctors, students, miners, bus drivers, public transport operators. You see, let me just, before I go far, let me address this issue. In Zimbabwe, let's denounce this culture of saying, "Wana windy, oh windy." Let's start respecting each other. Let us cultivate a culture of respect. There is nothing like Wana windy. There is nothing like Makorokoza. You see, for a long time, Zimbabweans, we have looked down on each other. You see, when you see our young brothers who are working in the public, private, hire taxis or whatever, ama taxi, and we look down on them and we call them, oh, windy. That is where it starts. Kati siona vana vedu vachida kurarama. Vachaenda kumataxi kunodriva vanenge vachidriva mataxi vamwe vachidaidzira vakambozuma mufakose eluveve makandeni, and we look at them. You know what we call them? We call them oh windy, vana windy. That culture must die. Let us promote our young people. Let us give them confidence. So I propose, brothers and sisters from Zimbabwe, that the culture of looking down at each other, let it end. The reason why ZANU-PF has oppressed us is because we ourselves, among ourselves, we look down at each other. When we have a culture of calling someone windy, when we have a culture of calling someone korokosa, why? Undermining, despising. Without those boys or without those brothers of ours looking after us in as far as transport is concerned, the country comes to a standstill. Without these people you call makorokoza or miners, the country can come to a standstill. So there is nothing like a korokoza. I'll rather call them small-scale miners. Why? They are trying to earn a living. So what was my point? My point, I said, the army, the police, nurses, doctors, drivers, public transport operators, small-scale miners, and everyone in Zimbabwe. This is the time for us to stand up. Army, thank you. Police, thank you. Nurses, thank you. Teachers, thank you. Miners, thank you. Public transport operators, thank you. You see, there is another group of very important people. We call them Omalaisha. That culture must come to a state, it must come to nothing. Our brothers must have a good name. We call them long distance public transport operators or something relevant. Why? The culture of Malaysia must come to a stand. We must bury it. What is a Malaysia? You see, someone is carrying goods for me from South Africa to Zimbabwe, or from Botswana, or wherever, or from Botswana to Zimbabwe, and I have the guts to call them Malaysia. What is a Malaysia? Why? A culture of undermining people. There is no such a thing as Malaysia. Those brothers need to be supported and structures put in place where their businesses are supported so that they can transport goods properly. So the issue of Malaysia, let it come to nothing. So now, Where are we headed, brothers? Last time I shot a video, I said, if we can give Mnangagwa 12 days or 14 days or even, let's say, a month to pack his things, he will be history. And things are happening, brothers. I thank you all civic society organizers, politicians, churches, everyone involved in the church, in the change of Zimbabwe. We will make it. Now, it's up to the army. I know now that they are doing something strategic. We salute you. What is my plea today? Police, army, nurses, teachers, miners, transport operators, every member of the society, young and old, let us give ZANU-PF a day where we are all going to say, all of us, from the police to the smallest person in Zimbabwe. When I say the small, I don't mean in stature. I just mean even the youngest person. That enough is enough. Vantu vase Zimbabwe sesifikile isikhathi sokuthi iZANU-PF isishiye. You know, I was thinking this day, I was saying, what is it which the people of Zimbabwe have learned? As a person, as a Zimbabwean, if I can ask you one question, and this is the question, as an individual, what have you learned about Zimbabwe? I will give you my answer. You also give an answer in your heart. What I have learned about Zimbabwe is that in Zimbabwe, we don't need one man. We don't need a Robert Mugabe. We don't need an Emmerson Mnangagwa. We don't need a pastor or someone who is a cultic leader. Everyone is needed in Zimbabwe. Let me give you an example. In Zambia, there was a man called Kenneth Kaunda. He grew up to become a dictator until Zambia went down. And there rose up a man called Frederick Chiluba. Every hope of Zambia, every hope about Zambia, every hope in Zambia was put in Chiluba. And the rest is history. Do you know what Chiluba came doing? He came waving a Bible. And they said, Zambia, I dedicate Zambia as a Christian nation. And he was crying tears. After some time, Zambia was known as the most corrupt country to have a president who is corrupt. Why? Chiluba and his wife, they stole millions of American dollars. Why? The nation of Zambia put its trust in one man. So I asked you a question. I said, as a Zimbabwean, what is it which you have learned? My answer to that question is, no one man must be given power. What we need in Zimbabwe, strong institutions, a strong judiciary, strong mining sector, strong health service, strong agricultural sector, strong industries. When we have those things, we don't need a man who is strong. Because if we have a leader and tomorrow he dies and these structures are intact, the country goes on. What is my point? Let's throw away the attitude of a cultic leader leading us to the promised land. They die. Mugabe was Joshua Nkomo and all these people who are dictating things to us. There was a time they were good freedom fighters. Today, we no longer need freedom fighters. We need freedom builders. And ZANU-PF and Mnangagwa, they are not qualified for that. Your time is up. So what is my message? My message is munhu wese, umuntu wonke, arambe. This is our time. We just need to coordinate ourselves this month of July and give each other a date and say, everyone, arambe. Thank you.